Hi class, welcome to week 2. So let's go into our weekly folder. Every week I'll make you a video like this explaining what is important this week and how to do the assignments. Right now we are really looking at how do we evaluate nutrition material. What is a scientific method? What does good science in nutrition look like? How do we derive what is good information versus what is bad information and how to navigate an electronic world in that regard? So a few things, you're going to have a textbook reading out of a different textbook. I'm sorry, this isn't an awesome PDF, but we're going to read this. We have a narrated lecture for you. But in addition, you are going to complete a few assignments that are going to help step you forward into learning how to do research and how to evaluate the research that you're looking at. So the first thing is your information literacy certificate. This is through the CWI library. Here's the link. If you've completed this in another class, you can just upload that certificate. You don't need to do it twice. No worries. If you are just now beginning, you need to complete all of the activities in order to get your Research Basics badge. And this is going to teach you how to navigate. You're going to need to understand how to navigate the library, how to pick the right sources as we move forward in class. The second thing I want to point into your attention is that you have a journal bibliography. And so here I give you an outline of what a scholarly or peer-reviewed journal is. This is going to be really important that you actually understand this because one of your first assignments this week is to complete a journal bibliography. So let's talk about that. For this journal bibliography, you are going to select a peer-reviewed journal from the library based in nutrition. So let's open this up and discuss it. Okay, so as my Word doc opens here, for this annotated bibliography, you are going to find a peer-reviewed journal article from the CWI library. You are going to evaluate that journal article utilizing this structure. And so you are going to basically tell me all about the article that you read. And these are the components that you will need to have in your journal bibliography. So for an annotated bibliography, it's important that you have a citation. There are two examples here of exactly what your annotated bibliography would look like. The DOI is explained. The DOI is basically where you got the material. And so some DOIs have information numbers and other DOIs just have location links. So up here, you'll find that this is what you're going to do. You're going to write 4 to 6 sentences on summarizing the main idea of the journal article that you've selected. And so you're going to be telling me about what are the arguments, what is the point of the research that they did, what topics are covered, what were the findings of the researchers. So this is really important. So when we look at peer review, we're looking at people who have conducted their own research. So you can't read an op-ed piece, even if it's in something like PubMed. We're really looking at people who conducted their own studies. You want to evaluate the source. How does this compare to what you already knew? Is the information valid and reliable? If you want to understand how to answer whether something is valid and reliable, you have to listen to the narrated PowerPoint because validity and reliability are two different things, and they're probably not what you think they are. And so you really want to listen to the lecture prior to completing this assignment. And is this objective or biased? For example, yesterday I saw a really good study come out on the benefit of eating eggs during pregnancy. It's actually a quality study, but it was also funded by the egg industry, and they have to disclose that information when they publish something, and this was published in PubMed. So that doesn't necessarily mean the research was biased, but they're acknowledging, and then they have to acknowledge to us that they had a benefit in the findings that they found. They're going to yield a positive return on that. And so these are the type of things that you're looking at. Okay. In total, this will end up being about a half a page to a page long. And again, here are some examples on what you'll turn in. Okay. Actually, it'd be really great for you to read this little information on plagiarism. You might actually really find that helpful. In addition, you are submitting this through Safe Assignment, which means you are submitting through a plagiarism check. And so you really want to make sure that the language you use is your own language. In addition, you'll notice there are absolutely no quotes in this. You should absolutely never use quotes when we do this type of information. This is about you synthesizing the material that you've read into a meaningful way that puts it into your own language. Okay, so let's go back to our weekly folder here, and let's take a look at the basics of APA style. So we in this class will always write in APA style, and this is where you can find information on citations and references. For the journal article, you really only need to make sure that your citation is in APA style, but we will continue to use this, and so I've provided this here for you. Lastly, typically we can have an activity, we always do every week, to kind of understand the scientific method and give you a little bit of practice. And of course we have some weekly content. There are some really good videos in here. I would highly recommend that you spend a little bit of time looking at these videos. And so in addition, every time you see a video hyperlinked like this, and I may have mentioned this before, but that means it's actually going to take you to a little lesson. And you don't have to complete these. There are going to be questions here. So if you want to dig deeper or you want to discuss, you can do that. And that's actually just really helpful to you for looking at different ways to kind of interact with the information. And so again, these aren't assigned. They're like 5 or 6 questions, no big deal. But it's a good way to be like, am I getting this? What should I be being skeptical about? How do I evaluate this information? This is actually an excellent podcast, or excuse me, TED Talk. It is only about, I don't know, 5 or 7 minutes, as most videos are. Again, this is another one of those links, and so every time you see that hyperlink, you know that there are actually some additional questions if you'd like to answer them to make sure that you're retaining the information. All right, so you now have everything in week 2. Please let me know if you have questions. Again, annotated bibliography. You are selecting a journal article from the CWI library pertaining to research in nutrition. They need to have conducted their own research. You will use the questions to guide the paper that you write. You've been provided the format for everything in this assignment within here. And so you have everything you need. I hope you have a great week.